Hey gardening friends, today we're going to talk about easy gardening when you're tired, a simple low energy approach. This came to mind, a video for this. I wasn't going to do a video today when I was having a conversation with a dear friend who suffers from neuropathy and other ailments, and she's limited with her energies. So yeah, I thought this would be great for you guys. So let's get talking on garden strategies for when you have low energy and still want to enjoy gardening. Now this stood out to me too because I have noticed as I'm maturing that my energy levels aren't what they always used to be. But I still want to enjoy my gardening, and I've been thinking about ways to continue with the enjoyment and accepting my newer limitations as I mature. I'm nowhere near giving in, so don't go there. But I just want to be smart about it and yet still enjoy what things I enjoy. You can still grow a very beautiful garden even if your energy levels aren't consistent from day to day. We have to learn to garden, I guess you would say smarter, for our circumstances. So it's not harder, it's not perfect, it is actually just more thoughtful. So we're going to talk about this approach where you work with what energy you do have and not against it, and then you'll just really enjoy your garden so much more. So I have my notes. So first topic, start small if you're just getting started. Smaller than you think you need. So when your energy is limited or unpredictable, the fastest way to feel overwhelmed is if you have too big of a space or too much to take care of. And so a garden really doesn't have to be like a full big flower beds or a lot of flower beds. It could be a pot by your door, a small cluster of containers, a railing planter. I love my railing planters. They were cheapos from Walmart. I was a little disappointed this year because I didn't take them off the rail before we had that big snow, and some of them got knocked off and broken. I've had them for so many years, you cannot find replacements. And yeah, I was just disappointed in myself because they were an awesome place to have plants along the rail that were very easy to take care of. They were self-watering. Okay, so those elements like the containers, a rail garden, that is a garden. You don't have to have expansive space. And let me see, recently I just talked to something about having like a balcony or things like that, small spaces where you can really fit in. This summer or soon, I'm going to share with you making a small space patio garden that is just enjoyable, which you could probably fit maybe a little bistro set in it, or a couple of Adirondack chairs or something like that, where it's just a very limited space. That is probably an average size patio for many people, but that's for this coming up summer. That popped in my head, so I had to share it. So yes, a single thriving pot or container can bring you so much joy without having all the work, and actually can bring you more joy than an expansive space that you feel behind on. What kind of plants? What should you start with that grow well or thrive with little to no care? And many times some of these are considered bullies out in the garden, but in containers they're very easy to keep in check. And that would be mint. It's almost unkillable. Geraniums. I love my geraniums. What else? Other herbs too. There's other ground covers like lamium, creeping Charlie. Don't anybody scream at me because creeping Charlie gets away in your grass or whatever. But if someone just has a patio, it works fantastically, and the foliage color or variegation is wonderful. The same with ivy. I do not let mine get out into the garden, get away from me, but it is a hardy, easy plant that is just a wonderful, beautiful way to grow something easy. There's other ground covers too that are just as pretty, but I like the ones that, like the lamium and the creeping Charlie, and there was another one I can't remember, that's variegated, and so it brings a lot of interest. when you don't have color like flowers. All right. They do not demand perfection, and that matters more than people want to admit. So true. So, 2, bring the garden up to you. So bending and kneeling and digging, it adds up quickly, especially like my friend, her knees are where she has a lot of the neuropathy. It's just not practical or, convenient for her to bend. So this is where raised beds really come in handy. You can find inexpensive ones, less expensive ones, and you can find the metal ones. I've seen garden centers are carrying the galvanized tubs with no bottom, and they're not cheap, but they will last you forever. And you don't have to worry about the paint peeling or anything like that. And tabletop gardening. I have a table out and back. I'll show a picture. Now, I don't know, I think I got it off Pinterest, but I don't know who to give attribution to. So if you know who this picture belongs to, please tell me and I will give them the proper credit. But I fell in love with it. And if you look at the flowers or plants, this is just common plants, nothing expensive, that are easy to propagate if you want more, and easy to take care of. But I just thought this was a beautiful setup, and how easy to take care of a tabletop garden like this. So when you bring the garden up to your level, it just makes it that much easier. And you're not fighting your body to enjoy your plants. What about sitting down to garden? That's even better. Maybe the table is a lower level where you could sit and garden. I've been inspired different garden shows where you'll see people in wheelchairs and how they have made modifications to their gardens to continue on gardening. And there's specialized tool, like they have these clippers that are on this long pole and they can operate them and nip off plants and whatever. So where there's a will, there's a way. Number 3 on my list, choose plants that don't need babysitting. So this is really a big shift for some people because some of the fussier plants are gorgeous, but instead of choosing those that need constant care, then choose ones that tolerate dry spells in case you don't get out to water your containers or whatever. Come back every year, perennials. Now this doesn't discount how easy some annuals can be, and petunias are one of those tough ones that really can fill a need or a pot easily, and they're usually not that fussy. So don't fuss these plants, plant fuss. Don't fuss if you forget them for a few days. And that also can depend upon your container. If you have terracotta that, breathes, the terracotta breathes, which is really good for many roots of plants, but they do dry out faster. So just be mindful of that. Though let me show you something really quick. Yeah, I just got these, and they're wool pellets, and it's supposed to help with water, keeping moisture in there, but it also is an organic fertilizer. So yeah, but great for organic gardening, and it says it's perfect for hanging baskets and containers. I haven't tried these yet, but I've heard really good things about them. So, and it's wonderful to know that they are, what do you say? Let me see. They're 100% US made and biodegradable. So, perfect. I want to give these a try. I will report in on what I think about them. Alrighty, so what are some of my easygoing plants? Now I shared some with you already, but echinacea, sedums, great for containers. And they have variegations of colors that you don't even miss flowers. Some will flower, but the flowers aren't the pretty part. So I will share with you a little clip of my sedum container. It does have anything else in there? Oh, little succulents too, echeverias, not echeverias, but sempervivums. Black-eyed Susans, daisies, what else? Cosmos, herbs also like oregano and rosemary. They do beautifully. I do have rosemary. Now this one got a little too dried out, but you'll see this one. You can see it looks a little sketchy in areas, but it's coming back. And I can trim these back and new green will flush up. Yeah, it got pretty hot in this greenhouse, and so some things did dry out too much. So that's what that, but rosemary makes such a beautiful plant, and the blue flowers are such a bee magnet. So those are some that will take a licking and keep on ticking for you in containers. So 4, mulch like your time depends upon it, because it does. Mulch is your best friend. If you have small garden beds, I mean, you can even mulch on top of your containers, but many times your pots are full enough, you don't really need it. But also ground cover plants like the lamium and other things like the creeping Charlie can act as a mulch on top if you have a taller plant with the trailing plant in there with it. But yeah, if you do have a garden, small garden out in the landscape, then mulch really does save on your watering, and it keeps weeds out, so you're not trying to bend down to get the weeds, and it improves your soil over time. So it's do it once a season, and it benefits, throughout the year. Now, I get it that sometimes spreading mulch can be a little bit much for some people. My friend does it a little bit at a time. She'll have a big bag delivered to her home. I never even thought of having stuff like that delivered to my home. I'm so used to going and getting it. But she has it placed where she can get to it easily. And with her walker, she'll go out. She'll have a bucket, a small bucket, like a 2-gallon or whatever, that she puts on the seat of her walker. She'll fill it from the bag, and then she'll go and dump it where she wants it. And then little by little, she mulches, and it goes far. Now, one year, I had gotten a big bulk order of red fir bark mulch, and I just didn't have the time or energy to spread it all. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to hire my brother-in-law to do it. And I did. I thought it would take him a few hours. It took him half an hour. But still, it was done. And I couldn't believe how far ahead I always felt having that done for me. So if you can, find someone who can spread it for you, maybe somebody in the family. You can hire a handyman briefly, something. But saving, even if you have to save up for it, having that one task where that person was able to spread it far and wide for me made a huge difference. And yeah, I just really was glad that I did that. So keep that in mind. 5, let something else do the watering. Now, if you've got too big of a space to hand water, or too much to hand water daily, or whatever your needs are, you could get rain, so you don't need to do it daily. But if you have a larger little bit garden than you can hand water, then drip irrigation is your friend. I put in my own drip irrigation. It was a DIY kit from Home Depot. There's all kinds of components you can put together. I shared a video on how I did it. It's very unprofessional, but it gets the job done, and it saves me so much time and energy as opposed to either moving a sprinkler or having to hand water. Now, I get it. A lot of people love hand watering, and they have the time and energy to do so, and they find it very therapeutic. But if you don't, or you can't, then having a drip system or soaker hoses would be a lifesaver. Now, with soaker hoses, I do have a caveat or a warning. Many of the cheaper ones, they do not weep evenly, or on hillsides or what have you. Now, you can find the higher quality ones, but they are not inexpensive. But they are very simple to lay out. I had good soaker hoses up in my entrance garden for like 15 years. They were covered under the mulch. They just seeped water out beautifully, and they lasted. They lasted a long time because they were not exposed to sun. And because they were not the cheapy ones, they did water evenly, and that was a big bonus. So those two things, and then self-watering containers if you have containers. Now, some people, I'm trying to find, okay, will poo-poo or say that self-watering containers like this will kill your plants from drowning them. That's not true if you use them properly. Now, I've had several plants in these type of containers. Now, if you get consistent rains where it fills them up a lot, then yeah, maybe the self-watering containers are not for you. But for me, they've worked well. We have dry, arid conditions. It gets pretty toasty in the summer. And if I water properly, and I'll feel down into that little gap if there's any water down there. If there's water down there, I don't water. But it does, the catch tray does catch the water, and it will seep into the soil back up as needed. You just are mindful not to overwater, which it would hold in there and keep water, and then you would drown your plant. But you can use them judiciously and have great results. Even one small change like this in your watering can take a huge burden off your shoulders, and then you can use that time and energy for something else. And your garden, it doesn't matter, it doesn't care how you water it. It just matters that it does get watered. So this is number 6 is an important one. Match your garden tasks to your energy. We all know we have good days and bad days. Instead of pushing through and doing too much on a good day, you need to start thinking like this. I did anyways. What fits today? Low energy days. Sit outside, enjoy the garden. Use it as an opportunity to observe what maybe you could tackle on a good day, or prioritize a list. So you could snip a few flowers on your way to the bench to sit. A little bit of deadheading. So check on what's growing well, what may need a little more help, and yeah, where there may be another place to put another chair so you can sit some more. Or you could water a few containers or pots. Or maybe go turn, maybe it's been extra dry and you need to turn, I have the drip system on a timer. Maybe you need to add a little more time or another day, something like that. Those sitting and observing can be so productive in of itself that you don't need to feel guilty on those days. So on medium days, you can prune back maybe something, or pull just a few weeds, or plant something small, or plant another garden. Say, that garden bed over there is not working for me. I'm not gaining joy. Take a little sketch pad out and sketch out what you think you might like to change there. Of course, it's not written in stone. It's just an idea. And sometimes those brainstorming sessions can be so refreshing and you feel productive. So then there's your high energy days. Yeah, you could start a new bed, or you could start changing out that bed that you, on a day that was medium energy, you planned out. Or you can move some plants around. You could divide one perennial or a couple of perennials and transplant them and tackle those type of bigger projects. But there's an important point. Your low energy days, they still count. And also, don't overdo on your high energy days. Just because you feel like, oh, I need to get this done because I actually have the energy today, you may be self-defeating. And I may be repeating myself here. Okay, so just being in your garden, that does count. And if you need to break up small tasks throughout the day, you can do that too. You don't have to go out once and done. Just know that you can do some here and there. On days that I have to sit at my desk for whether I'm involved in corporate bookkeeping or editing, I try to jump out here. Sounds like I'm leaping all over the place, but I try to come out to the garden, take a break. It's good to get up from sitting. You don't want to sit too long. And then you come out, even if you just walk the garden, or I'll usually have tools sitting around in different spots where I can snip a few flowers, or if I see a weed, I can bend down and pick it up, pull it up, or something like that. Or I have a kid's shovel and I can just dig up, little areas that I want. Or a weed eater. Sometimes I just go through and weed eat like a pathway in my back where it's full of weeds right now. I just take the weed eater to it and chop it down. I don't worry about getting to the roots because you know what? They're going to get burned up when it gets real hot and sunny because I don't water in the pathway. usually. Okay, 7, grow up, not out. And vertical gardening is one of the easiest ways to make things more manageable. I have a video coming up on vertical gardening, like 10 things you should know about vertical gardening. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy that too. So look for that. So think trellises, hanging baskets, and wall planters. Also arbors, obelisks, those work too. We were at Costco. They had some really cute trellises. They were arched and they were pretty tall, and they were like $20 a piece, which I thought was really a good price, because a lot of times things like that can be really expensive. I've noticed some similar at Tractor Supply. I haven't got a price at Tractor Supply. In fact, the next time we go to Costco, I'm going to see if they still have those trellises, and I think I'm going to get 2, because I'm always looking for ways to bring plants up, or supports for plants, and these were really rather pretty. I think they'd be beautiful in front of the chicken pen. Yeah, and because I have a little area of dirt there, and I could grow something up that would help shade in the chicken pen this summer. So that's an idea. I'll make sure. Hopefully they have them by the time I get back there. You know how things go at Costco. So what does this do for you? It keeps plants within reach, and it will reduce bending. It also can make a small space feel lush and really full, and it's just beautiful. And I love having like scented flowers, like sweet peas, growing up where they're at nose level, and you walk by and you get that scent. It's just gorgeous, and vertical gardening really brings in a cottage garden feel in many ways. So 8, use tools that help you, not fight you. So this is often not talked enough about. So the right tools can make gardening feel enjoyable again. Now it's kind of like what I said about the people in the wheelchairs. I had seen them gardening, and they had the tool. It was on a handle. Have you ever seen those gripper things that are long? My mom had one that you could get things off a top shelf with. Yeah, that was kind of what these scissor things were, but on the end, instead of a gripper, it had little snips, and they were able to reach across a bed or whatever and snip off flowers. And one, it would snip it, but it would also hold it if you wanted to, and bring that back to you. So if you were cutting flowers with it. So that's what I mean about tools that help you. But here are some more tools that you should consider. A garden seat or kneeler with handles. I have one, and sometimes I get going and I forget to use it and I regret it. Or I'm just too lazy to go grab it. I need to be more mindful of taking it with me, because getting up and down, it really will help. I'm developing arthritis in one knee especially. It crackles a lot. Sometimes you'll hear it if I'm out in the garden working and I'm videoing. You'll hear it crackle as I get up. And yeah, having something to have leverage with really, really helps. I seen one lady said that Tricam. I will make sure I put the name across to make sure I'm getting it right. Stool that you can get them at Ace Hardware. They're like a plastic step stool, and she said it's very lightweight, easy to drag around the garden. I was thinking of getting one to put in here, because I need a step stool to reach up high in here, and I thought that would be perfect. And what a great dual purpose tool is, then I could also use it out in the garden. You could sit on it to, garden if you don't want to kneel down. Perfect. Long-handled tools, I covered that one. Lightweight hoses. I have that spiral hose that, you hook to the faucet and it can pull far. I mean, that's very lightweight. And then it does retract up. If you have to pull it too far, it seems like you have to fight it. But if you don't have too far to pull it, it really can be great, because I have a bowl, like a metal bowl that's big enough for it to go into underneath the faucet, so it kind of is easy to go back and put it there. I've had those stretchy hoses, like Miracle Hose or something like that, but those things, when you stretched them out and you had it on full blast, they really wanted to tug you back. So also I have the retractable hoses, and that has been a real winner in my garden for making things easy. And I have it at a level where when I pull it across, it doesn't hit plants and harm them. So easy grip pruners. So there are those out there. I like my pruners. These ones are not inexpensive, but they stay sharp. And a Rosarian who was giving seminars on pruning. He said he traded in his Felcos for these, and I can see why. They are fantastic. They are not more expensive than Felcos, but I absolutely love these, and I would buy them again if anything happened to these. I've had these 2.5 years, have not had to sharpen them yet. So they're worth the money to go ahead and get something that is quality. But I have used the other pruners, and I still have some around here somewhere, that are less expensive, but they do work. I just have to stay on top of sharpening them. Okay, so little things like that, they do add up for a much better experience in the garden. So 9, let go of the perfect garden idea. Yeah, we see things on Pinterest, on YouTube, on Instagram, and think that our garden needs to look like that to be enjoyable. So this might be the most important point of all here. It doesn't have to look like a magazine or an Instagram post or a YouTube video. There's going to be weeds. There's going to be gaps. There's going to be plants that struggle and don't perform for you. There's going to be weeks when nothing gets done, like you go on vacation if you get to go on vacation. So this means you're gardening in real life, not for social media. And here's what I have come to believe in. A successful garden is the one you enjoy without wearing you out. That's it. So let's think about a gentle way forward. You don't need to do everything on the list. You don't need to overhaul your garden. You choose one thing, one pot, one easier system, one small change. And you start there. Gardening is not about keeping up. It's about creating something that fits your life. And your garden will be there, ready and waiting for whenever you can get to it. If you find you have days that you just don't have the energy to get out there to enjoy, and if your garden seems to be becoming a burden more than a joy, sit back and think about what we've talked about, because you may identify where things are going south and you can rectify them, and then you can enjoy your garden once again. So I hope you enjoyed this. I really, like I said, I wasn't going to do a video today, but when this came across after my discussion with my friend, I thought that would make a great encouraging video for many of my viewers, because I know many of you are like me, you're maturing, and some of us, our energy is waning, or we need to conserve our energy in areas here so we can use it over here. Well, you know what I mean. So, yeah. Okay, I hope also you've been enjoying my series I've been doing on 10 things you can need to know for growing cosmos, echinacea. I did clematis, and I've done zinnias. And now I have more. I have so many more. I've had suggestions from people, and I'm like, oh, that's a good one, and I want to jump in and do it. So maybe I'll be doing a few more videos than usual. Maybe, maybe not. Depends on my time. I'm very, very busy. And also, I wanted to address, many of you expressed interest in when I was talking about the snail mail subscription, where I would send out letters, physical letters, in the mail. That it's part of it is it's like a garden story that, over the letters it proceeds. Remember those serialized stories that used to be in magazines? That's kind of the premise of it. And then also I had said I would send out little extras, like maybe seeds from my garden or other things. And yeah, I've been calculating how much time and effort. I think I would have to really keep it within an amount of subscribers and not get too big. I've been reading up and finding out the cost of paper, envelopes, the time. I think it would be wonderful because I love written letters and the analog side of it, getting away from the digital. But I also have to, again, calculate time and how much I have to spend to get it going. So that, I just want to say that I'm not giving up on it, and because you haven't heard me mention it recently, But I just wanted to chime in here and say, yeah, I'm still pursuing it, but I want to go about this intentionally so that I don't make a mistake and yeah, get myself in over my head, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now, the first 7 letters are done. Yeah, they're edited. I enjoy going back in if I take a few days off and rereading them, and I'm like, okay, this works. I think people will enjoy this. So all of the above. Anyways, okay, so if you are still interested, please leave a comment below. I will soon create a sign-up sheet where people, you're not paying anything yet. You would just sign up to show your interest. So I kind of would know out of the gate about what I would need to have ready to go, because I would like to be ahead of the game. So there's that. So please do leave a comment below and or look for the link that I will leave soon for the sign up interest sheet. Okay, there's that. I will see you in my next video.